Hello,
Hello.
Seeb. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly well.
That's good. How is everything with you? Busy?
Yeah, pretty busy these days. I actually really have to say that. Yeah. Somebody just recently told me you don't have like the regular 9 to 5 job, and I answered, no, it's more like 9 to 5 in the night at the moment. Yeah. But I love it, man. I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah. You work better at night normally?
No, I 9 in the morning until 5 in the night. It's more like
Okay.
it's very, very long days at the moment. Yeah.
No sleep at all.
Little sleep at the moment,
Little.
yes. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you do something that you like, you know, I don't think it's that bad. So,
Every time when somebody writes on Facebook, like, like these typical Sunday posts where somebody writes, tomorrow is Monday, I have to get back to work, I hate it, blah, blah, blah. I never have that. I'm always looking forward to do the next thing.
yeah. Very good. And, let's talk about Orden Ogan, obviously, and Order of Fear. When did you guys start working on the songs for the album? I know there was a bit of a writer's block, so to say.
Yeah, not necessarily writer's block. In Orden Ogan case, I mean, Orden Ogan has quite a lot of commercial success these days. It really works really well. But it's really important for me to say that we still do that for ourselves. It's because we love to do that. It's the music we want to make, and we have to be happy with the result. I'd rather not release a record than to put out something where I'm not like 100% confident in. And when we were starting to work on the songs, I knew where I wanted to go, but everything sounded wrong in the beginning. Like it was super, super weird, and everything was like, ah, man, this is not it. And yeah, then I think you're aiming at this. There's this super fan from Uruguay. His name is called he's Santi, Santy, and he caught our attention because he was basically putting out like an Orden Ogan cover every 2 weeks on YouTube and whatever, and Facebook and stuff. And at that point, I was just, why not? I just gave him a call, and it was very, very funny because I mean we're all like super down to earth, very relaxed, easygoing people, and the concept of being starstruck is also super alien to us. I've never been starstruck in my life. In fact, all regular people, whatever they've accomplished, but they are all normal people. And for him, it must have been like as if James Hetfield gave him a call, like he was like, oh, wow. And I was just like, yeah, we listened to your cover versions, and honestly, like in times like when he got more creative and changed some things, he sometimes changed things for the better. Like some of his ideas were actually better than the original versions. And I was just like, could you picture yourself like writing a song for the next Orden Ogan record? And then it was like 10 seconds of silence where he had to progress it. And then it was, oh man, this is so awesome. And yeah, like 2 days later, we got the first idea from him after we talked about what we were actually aiming at. And that was amazing. That landed like directly in one of the tracks. And I mean, he's, like I said, he's Orden Ogan hardcore super fan. Orden Ogan is his #1 most favorite band in the universe. So he exactly knew what to do. And in the end, it was not even that much from him that landed up on the record, maybe like 6, 7 ideas or something. But what it did for us was to show us an outside perspective of how what we wanted to do is supposed to sound like. And from that point on, the writing went super quick. And like writing the songs was we did that in for Orden Ogan. For Orden Ogan, it was very quick. It took like, I don't know, like 3 weeks or something to get everything done, like the writing of the songs. Normally we can work on stuff for like a year or longer.
Well, that's super quick. And did you ever thought that you would need like outside inspiration, so to say, to be able to do a record? I mean, you work with a lot of different musicians, but Orden Ogan is your main band. Did you ever thought that I need someone just to kind of help me see where we need to go in a way.
I know I've never thought that this was going to happen, but I do think it also takes what can I say? It also takes balls to admit that at that point, to be like, okay, I'm kind of lost here. I'm like in a dead end, and we need to find a way out of this. So, I mean, like I said, I'd rather not release a record than to put something out where I'm not 100% happy with. And there are a lot of bands out there that put out like bad records, If I don't want to be one of them. And I'm actually like I would describe myself as not an overly emotional person. I'm more of the logical side of things. So I was like, okay, we got a problem. Where's the solution? And I was just like, man, this guy, he has listened to every Orden Ogan record for 1 million times. Maybe he has got an idea of how this could sound. And that was exactly right. And the funny thing is, actually, he's right now thinking of moving to Germany and working here in my studio as a co-producer for the other stuff that I do and stuff. And so it's great. It's kind of a Hollywood story.
That probably happens once in a lifetime for a person, having like an opportunity to work with their heroes and and continue like a story like that. It's pretty amazing. You don't, I mean, there's probably hundreds of people dreaming of trying to achieve, even put an album, just one album, and they never get to achieve that. And so that's pretty nice. And you said like after you got those ideas, it was super quick to write the record. To record, how long did it take? Because this album, it's more direct record than the previous ones. It's more like heavy metal.
All in all, I would say maybe half a year or something, though you cannot really measure that in Orden Ogan terms, because like the way we do songwriting is we will start programming drums and play like just scratch guitars on that to have an idea how it sounds, because it can be different in your head from what you are hearing later on. So we're experimenting a lot in the beginning with tempos, with key, like if the vocals don't work, like with key changes of maybe the vocals have to be higher or lower and stuff. So we can transpose the guitars and stuff. And so the good thing is that I'm in my studio. I have the opportunity to record everything directly, like studio grade quality. So if I do demo vocals, for example, it can happen that some of these parts just stay on the record because it's like recorded with the same microphone and everything. Then I would do it for the whole record anyway. And so you cannot really say that, but I would say it was like 6 months or something, like around that.
Yeah.
Which is still a long time.
And as a singer as well, you said like sometimes those demo takes that you do because you have the proper studio, so they have like good quality. But do you work a lot on the vocals? Did you like experiment much, because you're talking about key changes and stuff like that? So that means you tend to experiment with the vocals a lot.
Actually, like in my case, I most of the time I know what I want to hear and I have it in my head already. It's just to transfer it to a recording, and sometimes it doesn't work for some reason. It can be that you just sing it like too clean, not raspy enough, too raspy, like something can be wrong. Maybe you pronounce something differently, or you got too much lyrics or whatever. This is stuff that you have to work and rework all the time. When it comes to the way of working, like when I am a producer and work with a band like Brainstorm, for example, and record Andy B. Frank, that's super easy actually, because in the moment when he sings, I can already cut the vocals and take the pieces out that are really nice, so that in the end you got a little puzzle of vocals and it sounds better and better. In my case, I didn't find that person yet that I could fully trust, that I could work with and record vocals, so I will do everything myself. So back in the day, I used to record like 50, 60 takes per verse and or per bridge and per chorus to like get the right expression, and maybe 2 or 3 of these parts would have been great, and the rest is trash. But it can be the absolute opposite. For example, like for Moonfire, for example, when we did the video shoot, the vocals have not been recorded yet. So I just jumped into the vocal booth and recorded like 2 takes or something of Moonfire of the song, and with the intention to redo it later on. And after we were done shooting the video, I was like, yeah, I will re-record the vocals, and everyone was like, what? We thought that it was the final vocals. It's great. Why do you want to re-record it? You know? So this is the good thing about the way we work, because you will just have to have the focus if it works or not.
Yeah. Do you think sometimes bands can overwork too much on ideas?
Yes, you can overwork it, and I did it in the past, totally. And it's from time to time, it really depends. You really have to gain the experience as a producer to understand what is really important and what is not. Because I'm completely guilty of focusing too much on too little details that don't matter in the end at all, you know? Yeah. That happened for me in the past as well, and these days I try a little bit more of a top-down approach to say, like, okay, let's throw it all together and see what doesn't work, and then change that instead of like doing everything like 110% from the beginning. And it also works, you know. But I think this is experience. You really have to have that, you know, like other people. There are a lot of people, like, especially if you have like unexperienced bands. I mean, I've worked with quite a lot of them in the past in my studio. If you have unexperienced bands, then they can't even tell the difference of a take that was good or it was not good, you know. Then they just have the impression, okay, somehow my record doesn't sound good. Why is that? You know, and you're like, yeah, because the guitar performance in that part is shit. You know, you should have redone it. So you really have to learn that, and have to have the experience to be able to say, this works and this doesn't. And I think it just comes by experience. You just have to do it. It's like with everything else in life.
Yeah. Did you ever come across, you know, during your years of producing bands, artists, like a singer, let's say, that thought he was doing an amazing job, and you realize, no, it's not good. You know, and it's in his head, he was sounding amazing, but when you were listening to it, you were like, no, this is not good. Can you change? And did you ever come across someone that was really hell-bent in saying, no, that's good, you're wrong?
No, fortunately, I didn't have that. You know, like at that point when I said it's not good, most of the time they knew that it was not good. I'm lucky because if you've got that situation, you don't want to have that situation. I have had, though I have to say, I've had amazing singers in my studio, and like people that I knew. Let's take the same example. Andy B. Frank from Brainstorm. He's an amazing singer. He's really, really good. Technically, very, very good. And with him, for example, we also had a day when he came to the studio, started singing, and I just turned off the computer and took my jacket, and he was like, what are you doing? I was like, we don't record today, you know. And he was like, what's and I was like, it doesn't work, man. You're just not there, you know. You're like at 70%. It doesn't make any sense, you know. And then most of the time, even he was like, okay, man, if you say it, then you will be right, and that's fine.
That's cool. And, you know, on the Order of Fear records, you know, the character Vale fucks up again. Basically, he thinks he's doing something good for him, but he ends up, you know, fucking up again. Can you just tell me a bit more about the concept for the lyrics on this Order of Fear? You explained on the press release, but, you know, for those who haven't read it because they're lazy of going on the internet to read about these things.
I will just explain the whole story because then it makes more sense. I try to sum it up very quickly. So Alistair Vale, our main protagonist of the story, it is basically an ongoing concept story since 2008, the Veil record that we released. he's an aristocrat and he's ruling an empire with a circle of other aristocrats, but there's a lot of bad stuff going on, like corruption and everything. And he thinks, like, for the greater good, it will be the best thing to destroy the circle and give something like democracy a chance. So he destroys the circle. Unfortunately, everything goes completely wrong, and the continent ends up in total anarchy. And the thing that is even worse is that he gets cursed by one of the guys, and the curse basically says that he has to walk the earth forevermore, and he cannot stay and cannot rest at one place for a very long time, and always has to keep moving. But unfortunately, everything that he leaves behind somehow dies or decays behind him. So he's basically leaving a trail of destruction behind him. So people don't necessarily have to die, but something bad is going to happen in every case. So he's over all these years, he's looking for a solution for his problem, obviously. And he hears about an ancient nameless order that might help him. It's commonly referred to as Orden Ogan. That is... Orden is the German word for a religious order. Ogan is Old Celtic for fear, so it's the order of fear. And the first time he meets this guy is on the album Ravenhead in 2015. Ravenhead is a monastery where these monks of the Orden Ogan reside. And after some bad stuff that is going on there, he just gets the information, you have to find the eldest of our order. They can help you, we cannot help you here. And so he continues his way through Gunmen and Final Days in 2017 and 2021. And now finally he arrives at the home of these monks of the Order of Fear. And the eldest tells him that the only way to break the curse is to shed the blood of one true friend in the moonlight. And there's just one guy that comes close to a friend. His name is Abel. He follows him since Eastern Hope in 2010. Because he knows that when he stays behind, he's got a problem. And then you got the philosophical question about the greater good of many versus the good of one. And Vale thinks, like, I brought so much death and destruction to the world, I really have to end this. So he's tricked into killing his friend in the moonlight. And shortly after, surprise, surprise, he finds out he's got betrayed. Because the monks of the Order of Fear, they laugh at him, and he actually took part in a ritual that actually amplifies his curse. So the curse is even worse than before because they want to use it against mankind to destroy all mankind, and also they awake an ancient demon. So by the end of the record, he's in a very bad spot. It's like this. The curse is a lot stronger than it was before, and this demon is running around. There's some stuff to deal with on the next record, I think.
It's almost like a Stephen King kind of plot twist.
I love it. I think this is the great thing about Orden Ogan. Like a lot of power metal bands are like very cheesy and unicorns and stuff, blah blah blah. And I mean, with Orden Ogan, it's also fantasy, but it's very dark fantasy. It's very, very serious compared. It's almost like in a horror movie. And at this point, we're actually thinking about like making comics or a book or something out of it, because we always thought the hardcore fans will pull out the stories out of the lyrics, but maybe that was a little bit too high of an expectation. So I think we should really write it down completely and maybe release it through a Patreon or something like that. Let's see.
Yeah, and on this record, the last couple of tracks, minus the small intro one, like that's less than a minute. These are older songs. One of them from the Gunman sessions, the other from your high school days.
Yes,
and they are the longest on the record. Tell me a bit about why did you decide to re-record or redo these songs now?
Yeah, I mean, the songwriting in Orden Ogan was always a little bit of a progression. I think, like, from the harmonies and melodies, it always sounded like Orden Ogan. But still, if you take a record like Eastern Hope in 2010, that is not power metal. I think it borders more to progressive metal. I mean, the title track Eastern Hope is like 6 minutes something with over 40 different parts in it and different key changes and different metrics. And so it's meter changes. This is the right word. And so back then, we loved to do that. Today, we know that we can do that and we don't have to do it anymore. And I think like today, I think the beauty lies in trying to write a song that gets directly to the point and delivers the message straight away without any unnecessary weight. But still, there are a lot of fans that also love like these progressive days, and we always try to have at least like one of these tracks on the record that is like longer and more complicated. I have to say we mostly don't play this stuff live as well, because we always had the impression that it doesn't work so great with the audience, like these super complicated, super long tracks. It's really nice to listen to them on the album though, and with the Long Darkness, that is from, like you said, from the Gunman sessions. And we didn't put it on Gunman because Gunman was already very, very long record, and there's a very long song in the end already, so we just kept it. And the other one, Anthem to the Dark Side, you're right, I wrote that when I was 17 years old. And I always thought that it's a great song, and it really deserves like a makeover, and like redo everything and redo the lyrics and give it a proper production. And I'm really happy with the result, how it turned out. I wouldn't write a song like this today, but the fact that it still works with the other songs on the record just shows that it was always the same musical DNA, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. And obviously with an album comes a tour. You guys are going to play some shows with Feuerschwanz. And apart from that, what are the plans? You guys played Portugal actually last year in the festival. Before we talk about the upcoming tour, how was that festival, by the way? How did it go for you guys?
Oh, it was amazing. I think the audience response was crazy. Also, merch sales were super good, which showed that there were a lot of people like showing up for us. I would love to come back to that festival, or if there's another festival. I'm not sure if there's so much stuff going on in Portugal.
Oh, there is. There is so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We can talk about that later on, because this is like one of the very few festivals that I actually know in Portugal. So we would love to come back. This was just amazing for us. It was very, very nice. What you just mentioned, we have been on tour with Feuerschwanz in April already. That was great because Feuerschwanz have grown a lot. So we played a lot of like very, very big venues, like in Cologne, there were 4,000 people. So that was a complete success, and very, very nice people. Feuerschwanz are really great. The crew was great. So that must have been like the best tour I ever did so far. When it comes to that, everything went without stress and everyone was nice to each other. So we have like a decent festival run coming up with a lot of really nice festivals. We play Sweden Rock, then Metal Fest Czech Republic, Hellfest in France, Rock Hearts Festival in Germany, Summer Breeze, like a lot of really, really nice festivals. Then there are the release shows for the new record as well. And by the end of the year, we'll have another very short European run with Feuerschwanz. And there's a lot of stuff going on in 2025, but it's not announced yet, so I cannot tell about that, unfortunately.
Well, we'll wait for those news for 2025. And, before we go, Angus McSix, Angus was a dad. In real life, like on record, it's a different story. But is there any plans for a follow-up record? You guys working on it? Is there anything you can say about it?
The only thing that I can say is there will for sure be another record. I cannot tell you when it exactly will be released, but we will for sure continue that somehow.
Okay. That's, I love the records. And, again, when they played, you were there, but you didn't play on the show here in Portugal, but you were there anyway. It was great fun. It was a great show. I think that festival that, last year was really good. Everybody was in really, great frame of mind to see the bands that were playing. It was a great atmosphere. It was it was my first time there. It was really, really good. And I'm going back again this year. So, I think it's going to be my go-to festival in Portugal from now on because, nice people, the place, even though it's a bit away from everything, but I think it's nice just to get away from the city for a while.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I said, it was a very, very nice festival. We would be back anytime.
I'll let them know.
Awesome.
All right, Seeb, thank you very much for your time. All the best for Orden Ogan. Hopefully, we can see you guys again live in Portugal maybe next year. You know, fingers crossed. And, you know, a bigger show, bigger production, bigger everything, because that's what we like, you know. So thank you very much. Have a great day and hope to see you soon. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.